So, True Scrap 4, you are making your first appearance, and of course, we are so thrilled to have you there. You and I have both been in the industry for a while now and seen tons of changes. And what do you think about this whole online class thing and the video streaming, that kind of thing? That's really something kind of new for us.
Well, I think it's the only way. I mean, I think that it's amazing to see how you have this tremendous growth in the industry. And honestly, I went and taught class. I took my three kids to South Africa when they were 5, 6, and 7. And now they're 14, 13, and 11. And so, I mean, we've been dealing with this worldwide scrapbooking industry for a long time, but it's just even bigger. And so I think that it's the only way. It's the best solution ever. I love it.
It is great. And I was so excited when people started doing more video classes online because being a mom, you know how it is. Trying to get out the door is a hassle, let alone pack up all your stuff to go somewhere. I mean, it's
I mean,
insane.
don't get me wrong. I like to go away. And I think that's a big part of recharging your battery, but it's not realistic for everybody. And I think about as the holidays start to come this time of year, you just start to sort of panic.
Oh, it's for sure. And yeah, that's kind of where I was a couple years ago when I came up with the idea for this because I have always been interested in marketing and technology, and I was seeing what people were doing in other industries, and I thought, why are we not doing this in scrapbooking? Because there are so many of us, and we're all so busy, and we have such a visual medium that we need that camera to engage us. I mean, you can't just do calls like teleconferences to teach for scrapbooking, but it's like the time
Yeah.
is right. We could bring it all together, and I know you've really leveraged video and live stream and Ustream in the past too. And how has that affected what you do in your business?
Well, it's been huge. For one thing, I think that ability to really be real. I think that sometimes I get the feedback that people think that maybe I have more hours in my day than other people, or that maybe there's perfection in my life. I will. There's zero perfection in my life, and I think that also when you do a video, well, and for live stream, I just let it ride. I just do it live and straight shot, no editing. And I do that so that people can see that I mess up when I work, and I make cutting mistakes, and my kids come in, and the dog barks, and all those things, and that's real life. And I think that I like people to know that my life is just as else's. And so that's what I love about it. It's real, but it also is a direct connect, just like you would have in an intimate store setting, or I mean, even more intimate than you can get in a room of 700 of your closest friends.
Oh, completely. And one thing I've been talking with other instructors about as we've done these series of interviews is the idea with True Scrap. You've got the chat going on, and so it's almost like you're reading people's mind. In a live class setting, sure, you're going to get feedback from people, but you don't hear immediately, like when the light bulb pops.
That's so true. I've never thought about that, but that is so true.
It's like there's no filter, and in a good way, because they'll be like, that is the coolest thing ever, or oh my gosh, I never thought of putting that together, or I didn't think that was going to work, Heidi, but it really did. You get that. It's so engaging, and to be able to bring that video aspect along with that community and chat aspect to True Scrap, it is, I keep calling it an experience because it's more than just a class or a series of classes. It really is something that you have to experience to really get full benefit from. And yes, we record everything so people can go back later if they miss something.
Right. And taking advantage of the chat is a big part of just get you excited again. Like it just because you feed off of everybody else's enthusiasm, it's just overflowing. I get a lot of people telling me that they can't chat and pay attention to what I'm doing on the screen at the same time. And so that's where it really, if you get something that you really want to go back and you want to listen to it again, you want to dissect it, you want to replicate it, you can, it's there. Otherwise, sometimes for me, classes aren't necessarily about, let me make this exact project or let me do these exact steps. Sometimes I just like the influx of the inspiration to come into my mind, and I like to learn and I like to grow, and then later when I'm ready to create, it influences me.
Totally, totally. I mean, having gone through, this will be our fourth True Scrap, and I sit through every class as well as I preview all the classes beforehand to make sure there's no glitches or anything like that. So I go
Right.
through each class multiple times, and I see myself doing things differently, not consciously, but I'll say, oh my gosh, that's totally what Nick Howard did. Or Shamel did this in True Scrap number 2. Or, I see those influences, and it's not, I'm going to create what um, Nick Howard created, or I'm going to create what Heidi created, but it just, those influences come in, and that's what makes it really fun, I think, is just that.
To speak to some of these ladies that are in in this project, in this event. I've gone through and I've kind of visited the blogs, and I've there's some of them that I know and that I've been exposed to before, and there's several that I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And as I went through and I've listened to a couple of your interviews, and you know, these aren't people who are being paid to sell a product. I mean, I'm
Right.
sort of a product salesperson to some degree, because I do have products that support my concepts, and that's really why I'm teaching, because it's new and different. But the women that are coming and teaching are teaching with their whole heart, and being able to see right inside a passionate woman's heart about what she truly loves is so unique. And even in just the snippets that I've seen, um, I feel enlightened, which is a little bit cheesy, but totally true. Even just listening to Christina, I should have had her name on the first grade. Everything I learned in
Oh,
first grade.
Monica. Monica Bradford.
Gal. Okay. She, I was so okay. I have a first grader, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, boom, that is so true. It
Mm-hmm.
was really cool. This is the kind of thing that it is really a lot of truth coming out in just raw, passionate sharing. It's great.
It is, and I love what you said about people teaching from their hearts, because we do have a lot of teachers who are on design teams or are involved in manufacturers somehow, but it's not like I go to them and say, okay, we really need to sell more, Flair pens. So it's not like that at
Right.
all. We really work together to come up with a class, and I balance the classes across all the instructors so we don't have too many of this and not enough of that. So, and I also really make an effort, being a veteran in the industry, to bring in some new faces that people haven't heard of before, and some people who I think they need to hear of, because especially online, it's sometimes hard to discover new people, and I want this to be a
Well,
forum for that too.
it is. It's as hard as going to New York, stepping off a plane, and finding out where the best, cutest little
Mm-hmm.
boutique is, right? You have
Yeah,
to wander to find those things, or
right.
you have to have somebody tell you, or a local know. And Lain, I got to hand it to you. You've done a great job of curating a really diverse group with a really broad spectrum, and that's important in an event.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Sometimes I do get questions from people. They'll say, you know what, I really only want to hear, these 3 people speak. Can I buy do I really have to sign up for all of them? And I say, yeah, you do, because you don't know what you're going to learn. I'll have people come in and say, you know what, I signed up because of X, but Y and Z were my favorite classes. And I mean, not to be the mom who's telling you got to eat your vegetables, but it's all it's all of a part. I mean, it is really curated to present a whole spectrum of classes and a whole experience for people. And we do make an option later on, several months from now, for people to pick and choose the classes. But right now, you come in and you don't know what you're going to discover. You may come in and sit in, you sign up because of Heidi, and then you go in Kelly Crow's class. and you find, I mean, she's just so delightful. She's just one of my favorite people in the whole world. And just her teaching style, you so engaged with that. Or Monica's class on journaling, and you say, you know what, I didn't think I needed to learn anything else about journaling, but look what I learned. And it really enriches the whole experience. And the classes are really selected to complement each other. It's kind of like going and buying the chef's menu and he's selected everything for you versus
There you go.
ordering a
There
la
you go.
carte. And you can still enjoy it a la carte, but he's paired the wine with this dish or the seasonings in that dish. And I'm like this artist. I've
Yeah,
created it for you.
it's true, and it's hard. I mean, on Twitter we have those Follow Fridays where people that we respect are turning you on to somebody that they respect, and we're getting this inside track from you, which is cool. Even for somebody like me, I don't spend time going out and discovering new blogs. I mean, I'm lucky if I get a shower. You know what I mean? And so I am thrilled to be exposed to new people and new ideas because that's what will grow this industry.
Exactly. And it's I oftentimes am introduced to people like you said, people, I think it's harder for the veterans to learn the new stuff because we're so busy doing our thing. We got to get on our own blog, let alone go check out 20 others.
Yeah.
But I'll have people say, I'll ask at the end of the event, I'll say, who do you want to see next time? And I get attendees who recommend people like Julie fei-fan Balzer or Laura Dennison, who's got her whole following, this incredible art mini book. I mean, she's incredible, and I'm really looking forward to her class. But it's completely different from what my normal kind of my regular path is. And it's like you said about the boutique, it's like going down a different street and discovering all these cool things because somebody recommended it to you. And it's really, for each True Scrap, I make that effort to bring in new folks who are going to bring something new to the event. So I'm glad you're excited about that.
Well, and when to speak to that just a little bit further, when you are making that effort to have this really cool blog and you're putting your tutorials out there and it's coming from your heart, it's hard to get the word out, and so to be a part of something like this is such a cool experience. I am impressed.
Thank you. I'm really excited. So do you think there are questions that your audience might have for me that I can answer now, or how it works? Or I forwarded you a little bit of info, and I know you've been sharing that, but is there anything that's coming up that I can explain?
I think that, I mean, I've taught several. I've got the light coming through my face, and so if you're seeing these white blotches on me, that's why. It's a dancing disco ball out the blinds here. Anyway, I've taught a lot of online classes. I've taught at jessicasprigg.com. Jessica and I are really good friends, and we've team taught kind of in one way. And I've taught at Big Picture classes. I've taught for several years, and I've done my own web shows. So I've done this a lot, but never like this. And I think that I talked a little bit about on my blog how this is an event, and the women who are teaching have scheduled times. They'll come up at a scheduled time. It'll happen live, and then it's re-recorded. I mean, what is the most confusing thing what's a confusing question that people have?
It's the web room. They hear web room and they don't really understand what that means. So basically what happens is you log onto a website where there's streaming video just like this, like we're doing right now. So I'll be on camera, and hopefully most of our instructors will be on camera as well. There's the audio going live. There's a chat area that's in real time. And what we do is we spend a couple minutes at the top of the hour just getting settled and getting the audio lined up and everything like that, because everybody's got different, all the attendees have different internet speeds and computers, and so sometimes it takes a couple minutes to get that going. And then what we do is
I've experienced that.
we queue up a pre-recorded video. So Heidi, you've done your class. That's all pre-recorded. Um, Laura's class is pre-recorded. Julie's class, all 15 classes are pre-recorded. And we do that for a couple reasons. One, because as you know from doing live events, it can be really tough to get everything in that you want to get in. So by doing a pre-recorded video, we know that you've covered the topic that you want to. We've got it set to a specific time. It looks good, so we got that recorded portion done, and that way we play you're there live. So you and I are chatting, then we would queue up the video.
This is a really cool part of it, and because I've kind of done both. I've done where I've been live, and I was kind of interacting with the chat, because if you're teaching live,
it's impossible.
There's no interacting with the chat.
It's impossible.
But pre-recorded, you have full chatting, and so I really like this component.
Right, and then you as an instructor can watch what people are saying and responding to, which is really fun. Then, so we watch the class video, which is usually about half an hour plus or minus, and then we do live Q&A at the end. So Betty might say, Heidi, I really love that technique you used with the letter stickers and the spray ink. Can you talk a little bit about what spray inks, or do you have to prep the letter stickers? And then people type in their questions. Our attendees are not on audio because with several hundred people, you can imagine that would be a little overwhelming. But they type in their questions for us in a special Q&A panel. And then I interact with you just like this. I'll say, okay, Susie says that she absolutely adores your scarf. She wants to know where you got your scarf or your earrings or your hair looks like. I mean, it's really informal, but also it's really directed towards
really got more of the questions.
I know, it's always something really
random. The name of that nail polish.
Or that paint. What color is that background? You know, it's everything. Or it'll be, hey, do you know where I can get your latest pattern paper? They're out at this store. Do you have any other suggestions? Or where are you teaching next? Or have you ever thought about doing a class on why? Or that kind of thing. So there's a lot of interaction live, but we also have that really structured class format, so people are getting a ton of value out of it. So if you're not a chatter, you just ignore the chat. You can actually close the chat window and just focus on the video, or you can watch the video and chat along, or just chat and ignore the video altogether and go back and watch it later. It really is great because it's very flexible that way, but it's very similar to the video like this, and then everything's recorded. So at the end, after the event's over, you get full recordings of everything. You can go back and watch it again. You get the chat transcripts. So
now, what about instructions? I know that I usually have to follow up my videos with actual instructions in a class.
Yes. Many of our instructors will create a PDF handout that we provide to people with specific lists of sizes and things like that. We also have a supply list, so so attendees can see exactly what products you used. She used this color spray ink. She used this pattern paper. She trimmed it to this. So it's all there. So if they do want to recreate just what you've done, they can do that. So we provide that.
Right. I think that's the best of all the worlds, right?
That's what I love about it. And then, you can do it in your jammies. We have a lot of people who pop in and out because either, people are around the world. So we have some people getting up at 2 in the morning and other people who are in the middle of their day. And that's another reason we record everything, is that we can't, when you're dealing with a worldwide stage like this, and, Nick Howard's in New Zealand, and you're in Utah, I'm in Boston, we've got Aaron in California. I mean, we really are worldwide.
So cool.
It gives me chills every time when we're all in there together and we start out and people are telling where they're tuning in from, and it really covers the globe, which is so inspiring for me. So there's no other way to do it.
Absolutely. And you know what else I thought was really cool about the class that I'm actually teaching? I actually did some of my recording off-site.
I love that.
And I told the story of my project from the place that the memories started, and was able to share that, which is something I've never been able to do.
Right. That's so fun. That's great. It really is the best of all worlds, and I love it. Do you want to talk a little bit about your class and tell us about your memory file and kind of a little overview of what we can expect?
Well, I'll say this, that I've been scrapbooking for a long time, and I'm super passionate about scrapbooking. And even though I've never stopped scrapbooking, I stopped taking photos
Mm.
because I was just a little disenchanted with the fact that even though I had a bunch of photos, only a couple of them were making it onto my layouts. Um, Part of that is time. Part of that is that I was over making 10 layouts for one event, right? That wasn't happening ever again. And so, I mean, I do a lot of mini books. And so mini books was the way that I was getting photos on. But I just totally found myself taking my 3 obligatory photos per experience, checked it off the list, and I was done. And so I started to work on this memory file concept, and it's been about a year that I've been playing with it. And the products have really only been out for about 9 months, and if I guess probably not that long. But anyway, um, I started realizing that I could put way more photos into these projects, into these memory file projects, and it totally sparked my memory bug again because it's about the photo. I mean, photos are pretty dang important in
Yeah.
scrapbooking.
Yeah.
And I was realizing as I was so as I'm starting to spend my time on memory file projects, I am looking at photos that are creating emotion for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, this wouldn't have made it on that scrapbook page. This wouldn't have made it on the scrapbook
Mm.
page. This wouldn't have made it on the scrapbook page because they weren't my key photos. They weren't
Right.
that showstopper photo or the photo that told the most of the story.
Right.
They were photos that only told this much of the story. But it's the details that we don't want to miss out on,
Right.
you
That is
know?
so true.
And I'm really excited about this class that I created for True Scrap. It's extremely interactive, and it really talks to the the importance of capturing the details and not letting those slip through your fingers because you don't have room on your scrapbook page.
Yep. Yep. We don't want our memories to be limited by the structure of the page. I mean, it's so fantastic that you've created a way to match what you want to accomplish versus letting it be limited. Just choosing those too big pictures that got, like you said, 90% of the story, but it's oftentimes it says 10% that are the memories we want to hold on to. So that's great. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it has been so much fun, and I'm running out of photos. Which when has that ever happened? Never. And I'm having to be really conscious about what I want to remember, and I'm having to really document with my photos in a more robust way, which I'm loving. It's totally reignited memory keeping for me. So
Fantastic.
I'm kind of all over it. Love
Great.
it.
I love it. I can't wait. That is part, of course, of True Scrap. And everybody who's listening, if you sign up by September 30th, the event is October 19th and 20th. There is an early bird discount for signing up by September 30th. You save $20 off your registration fee. So it's really, if you know you want to do this, go ahead and sign up now because there's no time like the present.
That's right.
Great.
And I did post this on my blog, but if for people who sign up before on that early bird registration, I've created 3 kits that are all the supplies that I used in my project that 3 lucky winners will get.
That's fantastic. That's great. So we will be seeing more about that on your blog and Facebook page, I'm sure. And I am so excited to be working with you. I met you first, I think, at the, it was that Tennessee event. Oh, I can't even remember
Oh,
what it was.
scrap, etc.
Yes.
Or scrap.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it was
I
Scrap
remember.
Etc. back in the day. That was quite some time ago, and I mean, that was like 7 or 8 years ago, I think. So
I know.
I
Well,
remember I
and
had
time
braces.
flies.
I had braces. Craziness. Heidi, thank you so much. We are so thrilled that you're taking part in True Scrap. And if any of your
Thank
listeners
you.
or viewers have any questions about the event, need more clarification, they are free to email me, Lain, it's Lain, at layoutaday.com, and I will get right back to them with the answers to their questions.
You are amazing, Lain. It has been exciting to get to share your perspective and all of your knowledge. So I
Oh,
appreciate that so
thank
much.
you. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.